If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, we have Jimmie Rivera back on the show. He is back in action February 8th, UFC 247, taking on Marlon Vera. Jimmy, good to see you, man. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It has been a minute since we've spoken, and I was talking to Shane Burgos before his fight at UFC 244, and he said that you were able to do a little vacationing, a little traveling to wrap up 2019. And I don't think anyone in MMA has put off more trips than you have over the year. So did you get to have some time to unwind as the year wrapped up?
Yeah, we were supposed to fight at MSG. They gave me two opponents, Cody Stamann and Rob Font. I said yes to Stamann, and Stamann said no. So then we said, all right, we'll take Rob Font. But Rob Font, I guess, because he had LASIK surgery, how New York Commission is, he couldn't get cleared. And then they wanted me to fight the following month. But I was like, I told him I'm away. I'm like, I planned a trip with my wife after the fight. And to be away for 2 weeks and then go into a fight right afterwards, I'm like, it's not going to happen. I'm not going to lie. I asked like a couple times to make sure it was MSG. They're like, yeah, they gave me the opponents. I'm like, all right. Basically said, yeah. We said yes both. Like, my coach was like, all right, Cody Stamann. All right, Cody does not take the fight. All right, yes to Rob Font. And then there was no one else. So I said, all right, well, we'll figure out next year then to do something next year.
So at least you got to actually take that vacation this time. You didn't have to put it off once again.
I wasn't going to put it off. It was our anniversary, and my wife, she's been in Italy one time and wanted to go again. And we went. It was my first time going to Italy because I am half Italian. I didn't get to go to Sicily, but I'm Sicilian. But I got to do, we didn't get to do Venice because it's underwater at the moment. I think it's better now, but at the moment it was flooding. But we did Verona, Bologna, Florence, and Rome. And it was an awesome trip. And believe it or not, people travel. November's the time to go. It's not too busy. I mean, Rome was decently busy, but all the other places we went wasn't too busy. The only thing is it's not super warm out, but it's not peak season, so it's not crowded, and it's really affordable.
I have to say, your beard game is unbelievable right now. I've been talking to you for years. I've never seen your beard quite as ferocious right now.
It's winter, it's a free scarf for your face. So that's why I like having in wintertime I love having a beard. Summertime I definitely will, shorten it up a little bit, but it always feels weird getting the beard short. But
yeah.
When it's fucking hot out in the summertime, it's worth it.
So it's kind of interesting to talk to you on this level because we've entered sort of uncharted territory. Like, we're talking to you in the middle of a losing streak. Like, this is the first time in your 12-year career and 26 professional fights that we've been able to even say that to you. Does it feel strange talking, fighting, being on a losing streak?
Not really. It's like I blame myself in a way. Like, the last fight was super close. Like, I lost 30 seconds of a 15-minute fight. So that kind of sucked in a way. But the Sterling fight, I couldn't really say anything. That was kind of like, I should have won that fight, but I made some mistakes on the weight cut, and I didn't recover from the weight cut. And if any fighter knows, you go into a fight and you go into a training session and you don't sleep the night before and you don't get rest. It's the worst training session of your life. You're like, it sucks. So I learned from it. We actually, when we went into the Yan fight, I had the best cut of my life actually in the Yan fight. I thought the Marlon fight was the best cut. The Yan fight was the best cut ever. It was simple, to the point, easy. I never had such an easy cut to get to 35. And, I made a little mistake at the end of the first and second. And he kind of got rocked, came back up, and just kept working. Second round, he hit me with the first round. I didn't see that that left hook came out of nowhere, but the second round, the straight right hand, I guess it just hit the right spot in my head, and we scrambled. But it wasn't like I went out. It wasn't like I went out and went back and was limp or anything like that. It was a little rock and kept scrambling. So it kind of sucks in a way to win 4 minutes, 30 seconds, 45 seconds of a round and just lose 10 seconds around. And the judges give it to him.
You've shared the cage with Yan. Obviously, you've been just talking about it, but after the fight against Faber, everyone's saying he's the next guy. He's going to be champion by the end of 2020. Like he's on this stretch of wins here that have impressed a lot of people. Do you feel the same way about him after sharing the cage with him?
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you're on like a 5 or 6 fight winning streak, I think you deserve. I've been in that position, and you deserve a shot. The fact that you don't get it sucks. And I've been in his shoes. I mean, yeah, I mean, Jan's a tough guy. Don't get me wrong, and I think my wife and I always talk about fighting and stuff like that, and I think people are gonna watch my fight against him to see how to beat him, because at the end of the fight, I could tell he wasn't happy with his performance. I don't even think he won, but he squeaked by enough to do for the judges, just for that, those last 10 seconds of each round. And I go, again, I can't, completely blame the judges. I got to blame myself too. I got to, obviously fix up a little things here and there. You know what I mean? I think every fight, whether it's win or lose, you learn something from it. But, with that said, I mean, he's a 6-fight winning streak. He deserves a title shot, but the UFC is going to do what the UFC wants to do.
Now you get Marlon Vera, who has looked really good as of late. I feel like he's sort of reaching, the potential a lot of people had for him. He's got 5 wins in a row, 5 finishes in a row. A lot of people were pushing for him to get a big fight, and now he's got one with you. Do you feel like this is the right fight for you to get back on track here?
Not really. What do I gain out of beat? Like, if I go in there and fight Marlon, what do I gain out of it? Nothing. I don't believe I really gain anything from it. But it's the fight the UFC wants to do, so we're going to do the fight. My biggest thing is to get the win, and after that, get a top 5 guy.
Have you been impressed with Marlon with the streak he's been? I mean, you're a fighter, but you're also a student of the game. You watch a lot of fights. Have you been impressed with what Marlon's been able to do lately?
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely tough. He's gotten a bit better, but it's kind of hard to say because he's fought guys in the top 10 before and haven't beat him. Examples like Lineker, and then he's fought guys out of the top 10, top 15, and is doing really well. So, it depends on when you fight. When you look at a fighter, it's not you always look at how they fight, but you also look like who they're fighting, what kind of style that is. Styles make fights too. So you see who they're fighting, and from there you kind of figure out, what his strengths and weaknesses are. But is he getting challenged? Is it like someone that's going to be able to challenge him and bring out his full potential? Is it someone that's kind of win some, lose some fighter? You don't really when watching footage. It's not like you don't really know. You really watch it. So I think Marlon has gotten a bit better. But it should be interesting who shows up that night.
Do you feel like your back's against the wall here a little bit? Like, every fight is a must-win in some way, but for you to get back to where you want to be, you're talking, if you get a win, you want a top 5 guy. This feels like it's a true must-win for you. Do you like to put that kind of pressure on yourself, or do you try to look at these things as just any other fight?
I don't. Yeah, I think every fight's important, and my last fight, I didn't win, but it was a war. So I felt like my stock didn't go down because we literally beat the shit out of each other. But with this fight coming up, it's an important fight because you always kind of work off your last fight. So, it's always important to be in the win column. And whether it's decision, submission, finish, whatever it is, TKO. So I think every fight's important. I never don't think any fight's important. But it's definitely important to get a win, to get on the win side, stay in the winning column.
With the way this division's going, it's just really deep right now. I think it's the best division in the sport right now. I really do. I think it's so deep from 1 to 15, even guys outside of it. There's some up-and-coming prospects, guys like Montel Jackson, guys like that are coming up through the ranks as well. And I feel like this is an opportunity for you to reintroduce yourself to everybody, like, because of how this division is shaping up. Like, this isn't just a chance for you to get a win. It's a chance to show everyone that, you are a guy who, in a lot of people's eyes, was a win away or should have fought for the title 2, maybe even 3 years ago. Do you feel that way as well?
Yeah, I mean, listen, every fight, to me, every fight's a learning experience. If I learn, win or lose, it's a learning experience, and I don't care what people say, whether you win the fight, lose the fight, however they say, it makes you better. as a fighter and as a person. So, I lost the last 2 fights, but I don't think I've gotten worse. I think it's been a learning experience, and it's helped me grow as a fighter. And I think the biggest thing that happens, especially even the up-and-coming guys, is that when you fight, it's experience that helps you beat, and what really helps you win, all right? And with that said, the experience level is not only to, and I said this, and I know Faber didn't know what I was talking about. As you fight, you should always be getting better. You should always be working on something and getting better, whether it's boxing, kickboxing. You should always work your strengths as well as your weaknesses, and that's something I learned as a martial artist. So with every fight, whether I'm fighting or it's off camp, I'm always learning and I'm always getting better, and that's what really helps. With this fight, it's an important fight. I have to get a win and shoot for a top 5 guy after that.
How does this all play out on February 8th? I know you're not I'm gonna knock a dude out in the first round kind of a guy, but
no, I don't. I'm not gonna talk shit. I just want to go in there and fight. If it's a fucking war, it's a war. If I beat him up, it's one side. It's one side. If it's it goes down to the ground or gets submission or anything like that, fuck yeah, get my hand up. That's all that matters to me. I like to fight. I don't need a fight, but I love the sport. I love to do it, and I just love getting in there, and I love going with someone that wants to stay in the pocket. The one thing that I loved about the Yan fight was that he was going to stay in the pocket and fight, and a lot of guys don't do that. And someone said, "Oh, on the Dotson fight, when I beat Dotson," I said it's going to be either a really good fight or a really boring fight. And "Oh, what do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, if someone runs, how can you have an exciting fight? They're running the whole time. But if someone stands in there and is like, yeah, motherfucker, I'm going to bang and you're going to bang," I'm like, that's a fun fight. Casual fans like that fight. But as a fighter, I like that fight too. You know what I mean? I don't like chasing people. When you chase people and they run, that's when you can get caught too. But then it becomes a really frustrating game, and now you got to play chess. So with the Dotson fight, I had to play chess with him. I mean, he's one of the fastest motherfuckers I ever fought. Fast as hell. But I had to play chess with him because he wasn't like when he fought Pedro. He stood more in the pocket. He was left, right, back, boom, this, that. I go, damn. I'm like, he's a fast dude. So, there's been a lot, and I could say, I've learned a lot from it, from all the fights, and I'm only 30 right now, so I still got a couple more years of fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
35. I don't see me stopping until 35. So, I got a couple more years I got a couple of me is 3 to 5. I got 5 years of fighting, and after that, then it's time to maybe come down if I could get myself off and stop. But yeah, that's it. It's just a win at the end.
I've been talking to you for years at this point. I have to say, I've seen many different iterations of you over the years. I've seen the guy who just got in the UFC and he's very humble, making his way out. And then I saw I've interviewed angry Jimmie Rivera who called out everybody and wanted to kick their ass. And now I'm seeing a very relaxed, very cool with everything.
It's experience. It's experience. That's what it is. It's experience. But it does get fucking frustrated where you can't get a fight. MSJ wanted to fight. Just give me someone. And there's no one to fight. My 3 teammates fought on the card. I never got to fight MSJ. I wanted to do it, but I get no one. I know they give me 2 guys. I say yes to both of them. But then, they're like, no, fight next month. I go, but you told me we're going to fight MSG. This is what I planned out. I go, at the end of the day, I'm like, I also, I love fighting, but I also, I have a wife to take care of and I got a family to take care of. So I'm like, if you tell me one spot, get me someone to fight for that card. You know what I mean? Whoever it is. But you don't go back on your word and say, no, you can't get a fight. You got to fight this time. I'm like, it's frustrating. And then coming up the ladder, it was simple. I fought last minute. Marcus Brimage, it was the last minute call because they needed a replacement. Then I fought Pedro in Brazil. And then they gave me 3 guys. And Sean told me, the only time I'm going to be able to get in the ring is if I fight a ranked guy. So the only person that was ranked is Alcantara. So I fought him. And then, the Faber fight was an awesome fight. For me, I thought Faber would take it just because, he took fights back after he lost to get a win. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm kind of in the teens. I think he took Frankie Sands' fight. He was in the teens, so I think he'll take the fight. But then I had so much to gain from the fight, And I believe he had so much to lose. Was it a great fight for Faber to pick? I don't think so. But at the end of the day, I can understand. You got, like, for instance, another person, Corey Sandhagen. He's on a 5-fight winning streak. He's looking to fight Cruz or Faber. Like, he's looking to keep building his name. But should he take a fight with, like he was open. So I was like, hey, I'll step in and fight him in January to fill in the spot for Frankie. And they said no. And it's not, I can't get mad about it. He said no because he has a lot to lose, and I have a lot to gain out of that. I could kill his winning streak right there, and then boom, that throws me right in, maybe one more fight in title contendership. That's the whole thing. Like, I see it now. Like, anything can happen in the UFC. Anybody in the top 10 could be a fucking champ. So you're only 1 or 2 fights away. And when it comes down to it, it's not how many fights you win, it's the performance you do. You know what I mean? I think if Yan finished me and then finished Faber, that he would definitely get a title shot right away. But I was rooting for Faber in that fight. I grew up watching him. He's a cool dude. I was hoping he was gonna, win, but he didn't. And then when he fought me, Yan, he couldn't finish me. You know what I mean? We went in there, we fought. I made him miss. Don't get me wrong, I got caught, but he got caught too. So it was a back and forth fight. It was a war. And those are the fights I like. When you stay in the pocket and just want to fight, you fight some guys. Some guys, people are like, get upset because they don't want to stay in the pocket. You can't help it. If someone gets hit and they're like, fuck this, I don't want to get hit by him again, and they move a lot, it's just the way the fight is. If you're a casual fan, you got to realize that's how fighting is. They're either going to stay and bang or they're going to move.
It's just been a weird adventure between you and the UFC, hasn't it? Like, you've been very patient through this. Like, there are many opportunities, in my opinion, where you could have gone out and just blasted them and said, like, I deserve a title shot and gone after them. Even with what happened here, almost they wanted you to push the vacation back. But I still think you've been very cool about the situation. You've been very patient with everything, at least from what I see.
It's kind of hard because they're literally going to tell you who you're going to fight, and that's the way it is. So it's like you don't really have any say. You just got to go in there. I think when you're the champ, you have more say. Like, Yan doesn't have any say. But Henry Cejudo is the champ, and he has more say. He's going to stay at 35, so they took the belt away from him at 25. And now they have another fight going on at 25. So, it's hard. It's really hard because it's like, you gotta be the champ to have a little bit of say, a little leverage. If you're not the champ, you don't have any leverage. But then, you look at the division itself at bantamweight, just at bantamweight alone, it's fucking stacked. There's a lot of guys. Now we got Aldo in the mix. And then we have Frankie, once he's healed, going to be in the mix. I love Frankie. I trained with him to get ready for the Faber fight. He should always have been a 135er. Like, he is my height, and I think he walks around even less than I do. I'm like, man, you should be at 35. And I know people don't like cutting weight, but this is the name of the game. I know people that walk around between 170 and 180, and they fight at 145. Like, that's fucking insane. That's a lot of weight to cut, so it's just the name of the game. It is. And I think he's going to do well at 35. It should be interesting to see what happens. I hope he heals up, and I hope to see him in the division soon. To see Aldo in the division, like, I thought, I asked both my coaches about that fight, and one coach had Aldo and the other one had Marlon. I had Aldo because he was coming forward and he was throwing, but he wasn't landing the cleanest shots. But Marlon was landing the more cleaner shots. So, it's like one of those back and forth, like, all right, yeah, I can understand both their reasons who won. But now, there's talk about him fighting for the belt, Aldo, I think Aldo, to make the weight, is so impressive. But the Aldo that fought at 35 isn't the same Aldo that fights at 45. I've seen Aldo, like, his combinations and the shit he puts together is unbelievable. So I'm really interested to see. I know that's his first fight at 35, so you got to get used to it. So I'm really interested to see his second fight at 35 and what happens with that, and how he does, because that's going to be to see if he's comfortable now or is it still too hard for him. Like, if he's going to open up and be like the Aldo you see with combinations, kicks at the end, or is he going to fight kind of the same fight, kind of like he did with Marlon? So, I want to see a second fight. I'm looking forward to that. Whether, it's with me or it's with Henry or whoever it is. So it's cool. And in the bantamweight division, I think for the UFC to, like I said, they're going to do what they want, but it's a tough division because you have so many killers in the division. There's so many tough guys in it.
It's the best division in the sport right now. I really do.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and you're a part of that. I mean, depth wise, like you said, like anybody in the top 10, I could see anybody in the top 10 wearing the title at the end of the year. I really could, as long as like Cejudo fights.
That's what sucks. You know what I mean? Like, what sucks is like you see Cejudo and he's still out and he's hurt. And I can understand it sucks, but like, all right, why don't you give up the belt, let the division keep going, and then from there, right when you're healed and you're back, you get a title shot right away. Like the guy Horiguchi, I can't pronounce his name well. In Bellator, Horiguchi, there you go. In Bellator, he relinquished the belt right away, and he kept the division going. And they're gonna give him a title shot when he comes back in. I guarantee you. I feel like you can't say no to that guy. And he probably, I don't know everything behind the scenes, but he probably has it in writing. Like, yeah, I want to relinquish the belt, but you automatically give me a title shot when I'm back and healed, and that keeps the division going, and that's great. You know, right now, if you think about it, when's Henry going to fight? Is he going to end up fighting in like May or June? That's been 1 year since the bantamweight title has been defended. You know, when you're a champ, I feel like you shouldn't. I know leverage is they want to get paid more, and I can understand that. But whoever you fight, you really don't have leverage. You're the champ. You got to defend all the spots behind, and that's it. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen because there still hasn't been any talks about who's he going to fight. You know, he wants Aldo. He's called out Faber. He's called out Cruz. But who's he going to fight? Did he get the money he wanted? So it's interesting to see what happens.
I talked to Abe Kawa a couple weeks ago, and he said something that was pretty interesting. I want to get your take on this after what you just said. He said, you don't win the title. Like, when you win the title, that doesn't prove you're the best in the world. You get to the title, that's how you start making the money. That's how you start making the decisions.
Exactly.
But when you defending the title, that's what makes you the best in the world. Do you agree with that?
I agree so much. I can't disagree with him at all because you watched Demetrius Johnson. I don't care. Yeah, you know, Cejudo won that fight and it was a super freaking close fight, but he's still the best in the world. He's defended that belt so many times, you know, and it'll be cool to see what happens. You know, I mean, I don't know how One and PFL are doing wise, but they're still around, or they do like, you know, what Bellator did. They did cross promotions. That's pretty cool. Start doing cross promotions. It's not a bad thing. It's a cool thing. And, you know, there's a lot of top good talent in the UFC. So you do some cross promotions, champ versus champ and stuff like that, or top 10, some guy versus another top 10. Like, that just shows you, you know, how good the division is. And I mean, for the UFC, like if they get like one for each weight class and they go in there and it's like a dual meet, a wrestling dual meet, and they win like, I don't know how many divisions are there. Let's say there's 10 divisions because I don't feel like counting right now. And they win 7 out of 10. That just shows how, you know, good the UFC is. I think it's even gives them even more power, you know. But there is the downside where they could lose a couple and not. But a lot of the guys that were in the UFC are like the champs in Bellator.
Right.
You know, so well, most of them. So it's like that'd be pretty cool. Or if they do cross promotion anywhere else, I mean, it'd be cool in general. It's just, I think it's a great way. Just like when they did the marketing and promotion of the BMF title, it was great stuff. The fact that The Rock went in there, they really sold it even more. That guy has, I follow him. I grew up following him. I watched him when he wrestled. When he stopped wrestling, I stopped watching it. If I hear he's gonna go to show up in a wrestling show or SmackDown when it turned Friday night, I fucking watch it. Like, he's just such a good entertainer on the mic. It's just great. He's very, very good, and he's just took that into a whole new career where he doesn't have to get beat up anymore. He could just act and make the money, you know. So he still does stuff with wrestling, which is awesome. And you know, when I hear it, I watch it. But he has a huge following, so it's awesome to. It would have been awesome to fight MSG and maybe get to meet him or just see him, be like, hey, come here, can we get a hug or a picture?
Oh man, The Rock, like, quote, I did an interview with somebody, and someone had sent me this Rock shirt, a Christmas shirt. It said "Rock Around the Christmas Tree," and The Rock like quote tweeted it, and I was like, it was like the greatest day of my life. Like, Rock has no idea. He tagged me in it and everything. I was like, oh my God, it's a freaking Rock. I feel the same way as you do about him. I went to a Halloween dance in high school as The Rock with the leopard shirt and all. Last thing before I let you go, I appreciate you giving me so much time, man. What do you got?
You know what? We're just bullshitting talking.
Yeah, I mean, which I love. This is my favorite part.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've tried. Like, when you're talking about different Jimmies, like I was, you know, you see the young one, and then you see one that's trying to like. I think at one point was trying to be someone else, and I was like, I can't be that person. I'm not I'm not a Conor McGregor. I'm not a Kobe. I'm not going to talk shit. I'll tell you what I believe, you know what I mean? But I won't be one to be like, yo, fuck this guy. I'm going to kick his ass. Like, I'm not going to be that. Like, I'm not going to talk shit. I know that's what they want and stuff like that. I'm not going to be that. I'll be like, no, I'm going to kick his ass. Like, I believe I'm better than him, but I won't be like, oh, no, he sucks, this and that. I think anybody in the top 15 or anybody that fights, they got to be tough. Got to be something wrong with them because you're getting paid, and you're not getting paid that much when you first start out to get locked in a freaking octagon and cage and fight someone across from there that wants to kick your ass.
Right.
So you got to be a little crazy. But yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's cool. I actually preface one of our conversations all the time to up and coming fighters because like I'll ask them like how they feel the fight's gonna go, and they're like, you know, the last fight I won a decision and it was a good decision, but like I want to go in there and like knock a dude out, like or knock this girl out, and I'm like, well, think about it this way. I was like, I remember this conversation I had with Jimmie Rivera after he beat Urijah Faber, and you know, I remember he told me that he talked to his coach. He's like, man, I could have finished him. I wanted to finish him. But his coach told him, like, dude, you just 30-27 Urijah Faber. There's no doubt. There's no fluke. There's no questions. I bring that up all the time. And I think that's
Thanks,
that's
man.
a cool
I appreciate
thing.
that.
I love that,
I'm
man.
going to take all those bad things I said about you back. I'm just fucking. I never see it. It's nice to talk to you again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It should, you know, I don't get it. You know, it's always random when we do, you know, interviews and stuff like that, I feel like. But, nah, man, you know what it is? Like, he said that to me because I was like, you know, I felt like I should have finished him, this and that. You feel like you always want to do better, but it's hard to finish someone when they, you know, if they're not engaging, you know, and it's super hard, you know. So people, you know, people get upset when they fight. Like, listen, like, man, there's always stuff you can do better. There's always something you can do better. But was it a close fight or did you 30-27 them? Like you said, like with the Dodson fight, it wasn't the most exciting fight. It was more of a chess game. But I 30-27 him, you know what I mean? And that's someone that beat the former champ Dillashaw, so it felt good. And then there's been fights that I'm not going to lie, like the Sterling fight, I can't say anything. It's my fault, you know? Sterling's not a bad dude. He caught me with a good spinning back fist, forearm, rocked me a little bit. Then I was in the cage, he was punching, and I was just like, I don't, in my head, like, why the fuck did I just walk him down? Like, he doesn't punch hard. Like, why don't I walk? But he did a good job on another note. He did a good job keeping the distance and using his length. He's a tall motherfucker. So, you know, it happens. But, yeah, man, you know, at the end of the day, like when people say, you know, I'm going to finish him, I'm going to do this or that, you're going to do whatever it takes to win. So all you want to do is get your hand raised at the end. You know, it could be a decision, it could be a knockout, it could be a submission. Obviously, you know, you want to get those finishes because it just sells you more and it makes you more sellable and easier to get other fights and fights you want. But you can't always get that. You know what I mean? If someone's not engaging or someone's playing, you know, the outside fighter, you're not going to always get that. So, you know, people got to realize that. And, you know, you want a war or you want to do well, step in the pocket, throw away. You know, sometimes, you know, my coach and I, we always talked about, even before I got in the UFC, it's like, if you go in there and try to get the finish and you get hit, rocked, or you get finished yourself, you really can't say anything. Like, you try to get the finish and you got caught, it happens. It's MMA. That's like the best thing about the sport. It's not like boxing. Like, anything can happen.
It's a magical thing. It's a magical world, this crazy sport. Last thing, Cowboy Cerrone, Conor McGregor, who you got?
You know, the truth is like, if it's the first 2 rounds and Conor puts them away, Conor. If it goes the distance, Cerrone just gets stronger as the rounds go on, and I got Cerrone. So that's it, man. I mean, Cerrone's even saying, like, why the fuck should I take him down? I know I could beat him down, but people want to see a fight. I understand that. I'm the same way. Like, I you know, I got good jiu-jitsu, I got good wrestling, but I always focus on the stand-up, and it's just funny because people want to see a fight. People want to see bombs. So I'm interested. I can't wait to see the fight. I can't wait.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a real good one. Well, we look forward to February 8th, Jimmy. Very much so. The fight, the whole card's real good in Houston. Before I let you go, man, I appreciate all this time. Let the folks know where they can follow you on the web, social media, where they can train and work with you as well. That's an important thing. Yeah,
no, you know, Instagram is Jimmie Rivera, and then my school's in the city. It's 34 East 23rd Street. Right between Madison Park Ave. You come in. If they hear from your podcast and they say, "Hey, I heard you from the podcast," come in, take a couple classes on me, or just come in and do a picture with you, whatever. You know what I mean? You guys can always come in, and I tell my fans all the time. And I've got a lot of fans or people that are fans of me that come in and they train, they become my student, and they learn how to defend themselves and get in great shape.
When's the Jimmie Rivera podcast coming out? We got Burgos doing podcasts. Where's yours?
Never, man.
Never? Why not?
I'm so fucking busy. I don't have any time. Between I have this school. I actually have another school. I should shout out that one. I have another one. I'm not always there, but it's in Williamsburg. It's another Terry Showman school, another franchise school, in Williamsburg, and it's just, what do you do after fighting? A lot of guys teach, or they go like into like a labor job or something like that. And, I've had the privilege to be able to say, I don't need to live off a fighting paycheck to make my living and live and pay my rent. I have my school, work here. I'm always here all the time, and after a fight, I'm back in the school teaching because this is what I love to do. And, it's a passion of mine.
Are you going to be a coach, like a full-on coach? Do you see yourself cornering UFC fighters down the road? There
was some talk about it. I don't know. Maybe a little bit, but we'll see what happens.
All right. I mean, we've seen like guys like James Krause. He's doing a great job being fighter and a coach, and you can make an argument that he's better at one than the other. Either way.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, I still got I got to get those couple more years of fighting, 3, 4, 5 more years. I feel like that'll help me be a better coach and get that experience. I mean, at the end of the day, you hear some people say stuff like about my coach, and I'm like, yeah, but he's saying this because he knows that I'll do this, and he knows me so well. And, he's like, just step in the pocket, just go. Like, yeah, better. Like, whatever he says. And people always judge, and I'm like, it's not the coaching, Like, I had a student's parent was like, man, why do you keep kicking? I go, I don't know. My coach says to me all the time, I just stopped kicking. I have no idea why I stopped kicking. I just sort of just kept kicking in the fight, but I stopped kicking. Who the fuck knows? I just stopped. So, yeah, it's one of those things.
Oh, man. Thank you, Jimmy. I appreciate the time.
No problem,
all the best to you
man.
on February 8th, man.
Have a good one.